All right, hi everyone. I am David S. He, him pronouns, and this is session 7, I think, of Hearts of Wulin, Odyssey of Jade and Stars. This is a quarterly run of Hearts of Wulin, a game of wuxia melodrama being played on the Gauntlet calendar. Gauntlet-rpg.com is the location if you are interested in playing in games organized online such as these, or otherwise just checking out a lot of podcasts and cool indie RPG zines. So, with that being said, we've got a little bit of a skeleton crew here today, but we might have Steven joining us later. As it is, we've got Jose and Greg, and we will go ahead and get started with the two of you. So let's do a quick round of character introductions. I will go in character keeper order, beginning with Greg.
Hi, my name is Greg, pronouns he, him, and I am playing Wu Dongshan, the Right Lieutenant of Blackwood Palace, a sect of martial cultivators who specialize in plant-themed magic and arrays, defensive or offensive formations, or sort of magical traps. And we're also good at healing and dealing with poisons. And currently, a lot has been going down at Blackwood Palace. The other folks have been digging into the secrets buried deep within it, while I am blissfully unaware of what's going on, and have recently learned that there's an expedition to hell being planned, and my master has given me leave to go in on it, since Cloud Crow, who I am supposed to be protecting, is going to be venturing there, along with everyone else.
Fabulous. Jose, you are up next.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jose, and my pronouns are he, him, and I am playing Zhou, also pronouns he, him. Zhou is a member of the Waxing Crescent, which is an escort service, a bodyguard service. So he does that for a living. But what's really interesting about Jiang is that he is cursed. And he's been kind of pushing his curse recently, in the sense of tempting his curse might be the right word to use, and it might be coming to a head soon, and maybe in this session or maybe in the next. And last time he was also drawn into this trip to hell idea of Cloud Crows, although Cloud Crow did not mentioned their true motivation for trying to go to hell. But Jiang now has his own motivation to go, because his fox demon lover, Song Tian, has been possessed by an evil upper mask, which contains the spirit of his demon father, and is doing all sorts of mischief. And so Jiang is motivated to go and rescue his lover, who he now knows is also in hell. So it's convenient that we'll be ending up there sometime.
Brilliant. So, with all that being said, I'm thinking that I'd like to give priority to Dongshan at this point. Now, there's only a couple of you, so we could just as easily just say the opening scene has both of you in it. We don't have to start by splitting the two of you up. But Dongshan, is there a scene that you would like to call, or would you prefer that we get something kind of hard framed on the MC's end? What sounds good to you?
Nothing specific I wanted to pursue, so
that's fine.
Feel free to throw something at me.
Okay. I'll come back to you then. Jose, I'm just thinking about where everyone's starting here. Is there a scene that you would like to call, or are you kind of would a hard frame be a little bit better for you as well? Either one is fine.
Let's see. I do have kind of a scene that I have in mind. Yeah, I do have a scene in mind. I'll just leave it at that. So when
Okay.
it's my turn, I do have a scene in mind that as a starting place, coming on the heels of what happened last time. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. I'm just kind of thinking about where I want to put that relative to Dongshan. Can you at least say where this scene you're kind of picturing would be set?
Sure. So it would be set during the night right after last session, and it would be in Blackwood Palace. Um, but Jiang would be asleep while it happened.
Fabulous.
So
Okay. Interesting. So here's what I'm thinking then. I'm thinking that it is still the same night. We're gonna start with Dongshan. Jiang, you can insert yourself into the scene wherever feels most dramatically appropriate if you so choose. But Dongshan, I think that there is going to be a um a yell from outdoors. The guards are shouting, the gate is being opened, and when you go to the window, you're able to see a couple of guards dragging what appears to be the unconscious body of a Blackwood Palace um, soldier, guard, acolyte, whatever they're called, right? He is utterly motionless. You can see kind of in the still winter night, everything reflected off of the fallen snow, that his face is this vaguely blue color. He looks like he's been exposed to the elements for some time. He's not doing well. And they've got him and they're dragging him in and they're calling, bring aid, bring aid. And people downstairs seem to be mobilizing. How do you want to jump into this?
I'll just jump in and uh, accost one of the sort of lieutenants there and see what's going on.
I was on patrol, he says, and there's a whole lot of them, he says, motioning to the unconscious one. There's a whole lot of them. Dead. He's the only one that lived. They're all face down in the snow, down by the inn.
Who, do we have any other people there?
Just we've sent a number of sentinels to go see what they can find out, but no, it's him and 4 others. The other 4 are still face down in the snow. And you can see that he being the one who's still barely alive, he seems to be very labored breathing. He's not doing well. He needs some amount of, medical attention. Something about the way he's breathing seems off. This isn't just exposure to the elements. You can tell that already.
Quickly rouse the palace lord and have him see to him. And the rest of you come with me.
Absolutely. So,
and I will head off to get directions to and now where was this exactly, and head off there.
Right. So Mao Renxing will be roused. Your horse will be readied, and you and a few other maybe more elite members of Blackwood Palace will take off on horseback into the night. And you go some ways down the path, kind of through the forest, out into the open plains, towards a roadside inn that the guards frequently will go to drink whenever they are finished with their shifts. And you can see that there is kind of off in the distance a few kind of worried onlookers, just commoners, farmers, that sort of thing. But face down, kind of scattered around the roadside, you can see the corpses of 4 members of Blackwood Palace. Underlings, extras, nobody of great importance, but they're certainly dead. There's no question about it. Would you like to make a study move or do something else here to get more information?
Yep.
Very good. Which move or which element rather do you think you'll go with?
Let's go with metal. Ooh, a 10.
Excellent. So basic information. It's quite obvious that all 4 of these people succumbed to, well, a very familiar poison. And that means undoubtedly that the guy we left back at Blackwood Palace is on his last legs with the same poison coursing through his very veins as well. That's the basic information here. They were defeated with poison, not by martial prowess.
And is this just a basic poison?
Oh no, this is the very poison that was originally in the
Dark
bronze
moon
vessel.
poison.
Dark moon poison, yes, the very same that Violet Widow made off with. A single drop could kill an entire village, that kind of thing. You have 2 hold, although you don't necessarily have to spend them right now. We can always cut to Jiang if you'd like.
So not necessarily spending the hold, but well, okay. So I'm assuming that everyone else, there's no other Blackwood Palace folks about, just the corpses. Oh, you're on mute.
And the people you brought with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Are there villagers about?
Yeah, you've got, like I said, some kind of concerned onlookers. They're keeping a wide berth between you all and the and themselves, but you can see their little dark silhouettes out in the night.
Is there any signs of a struggle that went on here?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think by looking at the pattern of footsteps and things like that in the snow, you're able to kind of recreate the fight as it happened, kind of the way, for some reason I'm referencing Princess Bride in my head, how they were able to examine the footsteps and recreate how the fight scene played out. You're able to do that,
Detective
basically.
D.
That's probably a little bit more on
If
brand.
you've ever seen that.
Sure.
One of those where he just looks at the details and then you see a scene in his mind of ghostly figures going through it all.
Sure. Right. You can tell that there was, yes, a struggle, not a long one. They were dispatched quite handily. They barely had time to pull their swords before the lot of them were destroyed. So this was not what you would call a fight so much as it was a massacre.
And for the second hold then is any indication of where the attacker went?
Great question. Yes, I'll say that the attacker has taken off, and it's very, very subtle. You know, I mean, this is a great one to spend your hold on because you can see that their footprints are very, very light. They're not really footprints into the snow, which is probably about 6 to 7 inches deep. It's more like they were running on top of the snow, and only you could probably even notice that this person was even there. But you're able to see, yes, a number of footprints kind of taking off into a darkened, forbidding sort of part of the woods, the kinds that you would not want to go to in the daytime, much less in the middle of a dark and horrible night such as this. But you do know where they went off to. So you have a choice to make now. You've got a guy back at Blackwood Palace who is on his last legs, or you can take off after the killer. You only have time to attend to one. And you can enter conflict here if you want. We're going for the killer. Okay.
Yep.
Let's maybe Jiang, I was curious, would this be a place where your scene that you had in mind could fit in here? You know, you're getting into trouble at Blackwood Palace while Dongshan is getting into trouble outside. Or okay. So we're gonna cut over to Jiang here, gonna do kind of a rapid back and forth. What are you up to?
So I think Zhang is asleep in his but not a restful sleep. And so we see him asleep on a bed in his little cell or his rooms. So parallel to what's happening over with Wu Dongshang. And then I think we see the scene of his dream scene. What I'm imagining is Zhang sees himself like outside on a relatively bright day, but there's like a fine rain falling, like a sun shower almost. The sun is like peeking through the clouds every once in a while and making everything kind of scintillating kind of droplets everywhere. But he's at the base of a hill, and as he looks up towards the top of the hill, he sees a fox crest the hill, and Zhang smiles, and he starts bounding up the hill towards the fox. But as he's bounding up the hill starts getting steeper and steeper, and Zhang's legs start feeling heavier and heavier. And then the rain starts falling in buckets rather than in a soft rain, and the sky darkens. And it's almost like then Zhang's like climbing through mud, trying to get up, and he can't even see the fox anymore. And the mud is beginning to overwhelm him, and it's kind of pouring down upon him and smothering him. And it's got a foul stench to it, like sulfurous. And and there's like I think there's like hands, like clawed hands that start emerging from the mud and pulling him deeper and deeper into the mud. And he can't see the fox anymore, but he hears that voice, which was the voice of Song Tian, but that hollowed out, almost metallic voice of this transformed voice of Song Tian with the mask on, saying what Zhang had heard him say before, which was, yes, have Cloud Crow come to hell for the elixir. And when he said to Zhang, come and we will be immortal together, my love. And he's hearing these words, and at the same time he's being smothered by this mud, and these claws are ripping into his flesh. And so I think he wakes up with a jolt from that dream, gasping for breath. And And so I was thinking that here would be the role, the eerie moon and evil star role from when Jiang had spied the interaction between Daddy Demon and
Yeah.
Miao Renxing. So depending on how that role goes, maybe Jiang will wake up with some insight.
Okay. Which element are we using for this sort of retroactive eerie moon and evil star?
Well, all the mud seems. Oh, but Earth is marked. So why don't I just go ahead and use water then? Because there's a lot of water in that move.
Oh, okay.
All right. Let's see, but I've got to get to the roller. Let's see what happens here. Oh, okay. So that's an 11. So on an 11, what does the thing do? It says, on a hit, you perceive hidden energies and may ask a study question about it. On a 10 plus, take +1 forward in dealing with it and learn the manifestation's purpose. Although yeah.
You've got the purpose pretty
I've got
well.
the purpose pretty well, yeah. And I could take the +1 forward. In terms
Another
of
one.
huh?
Another +1.
Another 1 plus forward for my long list. So I could either reveal a detail, I think, but I don't want to step on your toes, David.
Oh no, that's the reveal of detail is fine.
It's fine. Okay.
It is in the game so that you can have sort of shared authorship. So if you want to take this off in a weird direction, you're welcome to.
No, it's not too weird, but it's I think what I want to reveal is that Songtian is buried within his own psyche now, and he is aware of everything that's going on, but he has no say actually in. He is actually full on possessed by the mask, and I can tell that from my interpretation of the dream, yeah. So I think that is a detail that I would reveal. Although it's not too surprising. Maybe I can make it better. Wait a second. And he's trying to regain control. How's that? But he's not successful at the moment. So he's buried.
Okay. That's perfectly fine. So that's the detail.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I imagine when Jiang wakes up, gasping for breath, he hears kind of commotion in the halls, and it's the middle of the night. And so he might wander out into the halls to try to find out what the commotion is all about.
Right. I think you'll get down there and you see, in the main hall of Blackwood Palace, all of these guards have assembled. You have the body of the one who was dragged in from down the way. Miao Renxing is down there attending to him. And there is a combination of panic and shock and just resigned sadness, depending on who you look at.
So as I look at the scene, as I'm an outsider here, so I'm kind of walking around the outskirts. I can see that someone's been harmed, and that there's a lot of concern, and that Miao Renxing is tending to them. Can I see if that person is still alive?
By the looks of it, he is no longer
with us. Okay. I think Jiang pulls aside one of the acolytes who's on the edge, and he says, "Where is Wu Dongshan? Since he's he's Jiang's host here. Where's Wu Dongshan?"
He went off down down towards the inn. He went to go see what happened to the others. There's 4 others. They're dead. I think he's chasing after the killer.
Thank you. And Jiang, since he doesn't want to go back to sleep again and have another nightmare, He's going to get his cloak and try to make his way down to the inn, to where Wu Dongshan is.
And I think as you're getting the cloak and getting ready to leave, you're approaching the door when there is suddenly kind of a bang, 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 like a knocking at the front gate of the palace. And you hear someone calling, "Hello? Hello, open up. Please let me in, let me in." And there is this sudden hush that falls over everyone. And that acolyte you just spoke with mutters, but, and he's trembling. He says, "That's Chow. He's one of the dead ones."
Uh-oh.
So let's cut over to Dongshan.
Zombies.
At this point, you've taken off into the forest. Are you by yourself, or did you bring your men with you?
Oh, they come with me. Yeah.
Very well. And I think that you are able to sort of track the trajectory of the footprints, and they weave in and out of the trees through the forest. Whoever was running was doing so with incredible speed and lightness, leaping over fallen trees at a very rapid gait. And I think that as you get down into the most kind of innermost part of the forest, you come to this great opening where there is this frozen, I think, lake, kind of like a pond of sorts. It maybe feeds into the fishing grounds for ardent maple. But you have this great frozen pond in a clearing. And you can see, standing motionless and still on the surface of the lake, right in the center, the moonlight gently kind of cascading down, reflecting off the frosty surface of the lake. Your breath, your men's breaths, the breaths of your horses, all steaming and fogging, misting in the night air. You can see the still silhouetted image of none other than Violet Widow. To no one's surprise. What do you do?
I will pull up to the side of the lake and call out, "I should have known it was you. You must answer for the lives of my men."
And you can see her kind of turn, and her robes sort of wisp out theatrically in the winter air. And you can hear her call to you. Her voice carrying delicately along the winds, despite the fact that she's still some distance from you. She doesn't have to raise her voice much in order to be heard. She says to you, "Very well, Dongshan. You and I may speak, but we will do so alone unless you wish to forfeit the lives of even more of your kind."
Very well. And I'll motion to my men. Says, step back for now and get ready to leave if things go badly.
Of course. And they will kind of gently back their horses up just past the tree line, so they will sort of disappear into shadows, leaving you. I think we have this wide, almost panoramic shot of you on the edge of this frozen lake. And then on the far other side of the frame, there is Violet Widow standing, waiting in the winter moonlight. She seems to be waiting for you to come and join her.
I will approach.
So as you get closer, she says to you, "It's just as well that you showed up. I am privy to information you may want, something that might be of interest to you. It concerns your family." And she is sort of looking rather just kind of wistfully up at the moon in the sky, speaking very matter-of-factly, very casually. Doesn't seem to be afraid of you just yet.
My family?
Yes, I've been keeping very close tabs on Mo Feng and his dealings these past several months. But I don't give such information away freely, Dongshan. I would be...
What do you want of me?
A duel. Prove your worth to me, she says.
I shall endeavor to do my best.
She looks around and sort of smiles, and you can see just kind of this glimmer of ruby across her lips. As she does so, she says, "I don't see Nameless Blade here to save you this time."
I just say, please.
Very well. And she will sort of adopt her fighting stance and withdraw her hands from her robes, and tucked between each digit, she has a number of needles, each one glistening with poison. Can you maybe illustrate how this duel is going to look like as the two of you are gliding and jumping and fighting atop a frozen lake beneath the winter moon?
I think it's clear from the outset that nothing I do is going to be able to actually touch her. But she's far too quick and nimble for my style. I don't have anywhere near the the lightness kung fu that she has. So you see me sort of plodding around on the ice and constantly having to deal with, oh no, it's cracking here, and I quickly must move to avoid falling through the ice. And also as she's moving around, tossing her needles at me, which I don't dodge. I simply sort of conjure up a quick barrier to thrust them aside. But it's it's just all I can do is stop her from hitting me, and that's about all I can do. As she glides around, I just block, sort of scuttling from place to place. And you can see her smiling as my brow gets ever more furrowed.
Absolutely. And I think that, she's doing these great sort of levitation, almost like leaps. She'll jump and then somehow move in a circular arc, even though that's not really physically possible, and then land on a different side. And as she does so, she's making conversation with you. And she says very casually, "You have to forgive me for the deaths of your men. They were drinking in the tavern, and I couldn't help but overhear them say something about..." She laughs. "Are you invading hell?" And there's this flashback to the man listening in on Dongshan and Nameless Blade at the end of the last session. She says, "I had to know more, and yet they wouldn't tell me. So you have to understand my needing to dispatch them to get the words out." And she's telling you how and why she attacked these people. Do you say anything in return before we make this roll?
Uh, I understand your nature, but pray that you would be more forgiving in the future. You could have come to me instead.
But then, what would I get to do with these? She says, and she'll unleash a cyclone of needles at you. And you get the sense that she's just so sadistic and so just killing as an art for her. She says, a duel that does not result in one's death, that is nothing more than a riddle that goes unsolved. And she's giving you all this ridiculous philosophy as she fights you, but it's all great villain talk. We can make this roll. Jiang, if you would like to pop up, you can, I think, at this point enter the scene if you so choose. You could also offer support if you wanted to intervene, but otherwise, Dongshan, this is your time to roll. She's above your scale, but this is the second time you have faced her. So if you try to do a new technique move after this, you will be rolling at a +2.
Can I so I would make the decision to support before he makes the roll, right?
You can make the decision after.
Okay.
And so Dongshan, you're rolling with fire, but you're also dueling against supernatural forces. So this is going to be a +3 altogether.
Ooh, it's about as bad as it gets. A 6.
Now you've got you've got more bonds than probably, you've actually have more bonds than every other character combined. So if you want to bump that up above a miss, you can.
I would be interested in
Or
helping.
John can, John, you can intervene as well. So
do you have a preference?
Yeah, I'll leave it to you two.
Let's have you intervene just because it's
Okay.
very dramatic.
It's very dramatic. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
All right.
Yeah, because
of course, I'm doomed if you don't. So
yeah, so I'm imagining in terms of the fiction, like that she's got you on your back foot, and she is about to she has her needles in her hand, about to impale you, and I see kind of Zhang's like silver tether like come out and grab her her wrist. Whether that helps or not, I don't know. We'll find out when we roll.
Yeah, because you've got the you have the silver tether. You have evened your scale with Violet Widow.
All right, so for a support move, I've never done this one before. So I choose an element. Should be my my fighting element, my style element, I think. And I just roll, right? Okay.
I think that's fine. You're rolling at a +3.
All right, so that's a 10. So on a 10 for support, when you assist a fellow,
So to start with, what you can do is you can give Dongshan a bond with you, which they would then, I assume, immediately spend to bump their roll
immediately
up to a
spend to
7.
bump their roll. Yeah, okay.
But you rolled a 10+, which means that you may, personally, Jiang, you may either clear an element yourself, ask Dongshan a question they must answer, or you can give Dongshan an additional bond.
Oh, he's got so many bonds on me already. Why don't I clear an element? And yeah, and give him the +1. All right, so that changes your role, I believe, Wudongshan.
Yeah, that'll put you up to a 7.
Okay. Yeah. So it looks like I choose to give him a bond, which he can immediately
Right.
spend.
That's technically how it goes. Yeah, he's
Yep.
spending the bond for you.
Right.
Yeah, my bad.
I always get confused by that because it seems backwards. So.
Right.
So you declare how you lose the fight, and you will want to also mark an element. I'm going to say that it's going to be your style element.
Ouch.
Alternatively, you can always mark wounded instead of having your style element marked.
No, I think my style element seems like a good one here because I think what happens is yes, I've the Violet Widow, after unleashes a torrent of needles, which I'm barely able to block, but getting the last one, sort of knocks me off. Standing on the ice, it knocks me off balance, and you see me sort of sliding backwards, and she turns ready to throw the final needle straight into my chest. But then Jiang's tether reaches out and jostles her, grabs her, jostles her just enough to throw her aim off. And rather than piercing me through the chest, just manages to catch me on the upper arm. And you quickly see the wound turn black, and poison starts seeping out. But I'm able to quickly seal off my my acupoints and to stop it from spreading. But I'm in no condition to do anything except
not die.
Not die. Yeah.
So your style element of fire is marked, but you survive, and you get to mark XP for losing a duel. Jiang, Violet Widow turns to you. Surprised to see you here, she says, and I think that you still have her wrist maybe wrapped up in the tether.
Yeah, and I think one of the things about the tether is that it allows me to shrink it or elongate it at my will. And so I think I use it, I shrink it and slide across the ice towards her to close the distance between us. And then I say, "Are you playing with my friend?"
We were carrying out a bargain, a duel in exchange for information.
Seems you've won. So if you want your information, perhaps you should stand down. He won't be able to give it to you if you kill him.
Well, it was she that was going to give him the information about Mo Fang.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Well, Jiang didn't know.
I suppose technically, I mean,
I didn't know. I got it confused. I got it wrong.
I think she kind of laughs, and there's this sort of echo throughout this giant open space that you're all in. The first time you've heard an echo in a long time. The snow normally dampens it all. And she says to you, no. It's about Dongshan's family.
Oh, so it's you're the informant.
I know many things, she says, and gives you a look as if she knows something about you as well.
Now you have me intrigued, Violet Widow. And I think he shrinks the tether just a little bit, comes a little closer to her, and says, what would I need to do to get the information that you have on me? We've
She
already
says,
dueled, so that would be boring for you.
been there, done that. She tells you, I heard earlier this evening that you and a number of others are planning to venture into the demon realm, going straight to hell, I understand.
That is the plan, although I can't say I think it's a good one. Cloud Crow is stalwart in their advocacy for this plan, although they have not told me exactly why they want to go to hell.
I see.
But as a friend, I am willing to support them in this dangerous mission. I fear it is a trap. For Cloud Crow in particular, is that what you might know about?
As I said, I know many things, but I will make a bargain with you. One of the things I know is that your lover, Song Tian, has also ventured down into hell himself. Bring me back a lock of his hair, and I will tell you the secrets I hold.
So when she says, Song Tian, my lover, Jiang blushes, because Jiang's still a little bit embarrassed that people might know about his relationship with Song Tian.
Yeah, you definitely get a interested look from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're on the ground there soaking this all in, I know.
and I think that what she'll even do, just to make it even kind of hit a little bit harder, she'll even kind of look at you and say, I know of your curse, Zhou. I can tell you many things. And so there's a choice to be made here. And I'll leave it to you to determine whether it rises to the level of inner conflict here, making a deal to kind of compromise Song Tian in exchange for learning more about your curse and your true nature.
Yeah, I would think that would rise to the level of inner conflict. That's the temptation, right? Temptation and yeah. All right, so I can roll inner conflict.
Yes, with a non-style element. So
Yes,
which one would you like to go with here?
Let's see, what do I have available? Oh, that's right, I cleared that one, so I still have it available. Let's see, what would make sense? Would I be scared? Uncaring, disdainful, I'll do Earth. So conflict. Oh, that's right. So that's one. And here we go. Well, it's a 7.
Okay. You can either leave the scene or mark an element.
Yeah, that element's toggling on and off for me. I think I'll mark an element. I'll try to stay. Well, actually, maybe I'll mark metal for just to control myself, and so I will stay. And oh, I mark XP, right?
You mark XP, and this also triggers your move. Heroes
Right.
shed no tears.
So that's a good one. Now, one of the things about this move that I don't quite understand that maybe is the part that says change the mood of an NPC. What exactly is the mood of an NPC?
I think that, I mean, that's not a mechanical.
It's not a mechanical thing. Okay.
No, I mean, I think that what that refers to is just kind of fictionally speaking. If they're angry, you kind of
If they're angry,
soothe them. You know, if you want them to feel joy, then you get that to work too. You know, that kind of thing.
Okay. So then what happens is the witnesses, which I have 2 witnesses right here, are Violet Widow and Wu Dongshan. So I'll take a +1 forward against Violet Widow because I managed to keep my shit together.
Okay.
A little bit anyways. I'm trying to understand narratively what the -1 forward on inner conflict to another PC means. It made sense to me last time I did this because I did it to Cloud Crow because I was pissed off at them. But I'm not sure. Is that what it means? Like, I'm in inner conflict because of you, and somehow I'm going to make your inner conflict worse because I managed to keep mine together?
Yeah, that's, I think, a very common interpretation. Dongshan,
Okay.
were you gonna say something there?
My thought on it is that here I've suddenly heard all these revelations about you,
Juicy
and
tidbits.
now
Yeah.
I have new worries on my mind about you. So
all right, so maybe I'll give you a -1 to inner conflict next time, so you can make a note of that somewhere.
Okay. And so what do you do?
Move. Jiang's motivation here is to defuse the situation. That was his initial motivation, and to get Wu Dongshan out of trouble. So he is going to agree to this bargain, even though he's not sure he's going to follow through on it, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So he says, agreed. I will bring you the lock of Song Tian's hair, assuming, or whether he survives or not, I guess, is an open-ended question. I will bring you the lock of his hair, and you will tell me what you know about my curse.
Very well, she says.
And he releases the tether. Is our business here concluded?
Until next time, she says. And I think then she will, well, actually, now might be a good time to take kind of break number 1. What we might do is, are people okay with taking 5 here and coming back at 5:15?
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
let's just take 5, come back at quarter past, and we'll go from there.
Great.
Okay, we're back. And so, Dongshan, you have a duel that you have given to Violet Widow in exchange for some information. How exactly do you look? You know, as she's sort of walking towards you, robes kind of flowing out behind her, Jiang in the background. I mean, are you hunched over, your meridians just blocked as can be, or how are you looking here as she comes towards you?
I think at this point I'm in the typical seated pose, regulating my chi, just to keep myself from getting, just to keep myself from dying, essentially. And you can see the strain on my face as I just, furiously trying not to die.
Sure. I think she sits next to you somewhat casually and says, well, I suppose I owe you some information, don't I?
I hope this was worth it.
She says, you've probably found this out already, but Dongshan is looking for ways to, well, to destroy King Shui. He's made a...
Fung?
I'm sorry, Mofang. Yes. Did I say Dongshan?
You did.
Oops. No, the Mofang. Mofang is looking for ways to kill your wife.
His own sister.
His hatred for you runs deep, Dongshan. And in his mind, the only thing he could do worse than kill you is take your one love from you. And that is why Iceblood Ning will continue to send that one ghost after you time and time again, as many times as it takes, until she is finally taken away in its deathly embrace. It's an intelligent tactic. He doesn't have to actually get his hands dirty, doesn't have to send any of his own minions. He can strike from afar and claim deniability. It would never get traced back to him. After all, there are all kinds of ghosts running around. Who could ever prove that it was Iceblood?
That's frightening to know, but thank you for the information. I hope the amusement I provided to you was enough payment in return, because I'm grateful that you told me this. And I'm thinking it's time to roll inner conflict.
Okay. What is the nature of the inner conflict?
Well, now I must destroy Mofang. Because, I mean, Jing Shui's going to hate it, but I can never let her know that her own brother is trying to kill her.
All right. Let's go ahead and roll that. You've got a -1 forward. What are you going to roll with?
stick with water. Or actually, no. Let's say metal, because I'm definitely scared. Scared is the the bad side of that. So that seems right.
Okay. So flat roll in total.
Oh, 7.
All right. You may leave the scene or mark an element. Marking an element would, of course, trigger your move Ashes of Time.
Let's mark an element. Get to use the move. And let's mark metal that I rolled with.
Okay. And you may immediately create a bond with someone as you reflect on a lesson that they taught you.
I think I will create a bond with Qing Shui as I realize that she's the stories she's told me about Mo Feng. I realize now that she's been covering up the worst aspects of his behavior, but looking at them in another light, I can see now that he's actually been excessively cruel to her at points, which she's minimized, and I, realize that I can't quite trust what she says about Mo Feng, because he's been in some ways abusive to her, which she's tried to deflect my attention from.
All
But
right.
looking back now, I can see it.
Awesome. And you get to mark XP for rolling inner conflict.
Ooh.
So I think that Violet Widow's role in the scene, at least, will be kind of played out here, and she will stand and dust the frost off of her robes and say, "It all works out to my advantage. The only thing better than killing you here and now would be if you and Mo Feng killed each other for me. Best of luck." And she'll, like a winter gust, just get away, running, dancing through the air, off into the trees. Is there anything else, Wu Dongshan or Zhou Zhang, that you would like to do, the two of you, as you sit here on this frozen lake? Dongshan, I think your men will begin to emerge on horseback from the trees. They were watching everything, but it was all just out of earshot for them.
I think as Black Widow, Violet Widow recedes, John will rush forward to Wu Dongshan, who he can see is in desperate straits. And when he makes contact with Wu Dongshan, John blushes again because of everything that's been revealed about his personal life in that exchange. But he tries to deflect by saying, "Wu Dongshan, you are injured and poisoned. How can I help?"
Bring me back to Blackwood Palace. My master can help. And then you see me collapse and go limp.
John carries him off the frozen lake to the Blackwood Palace soldiers and helps them get him onto a horse.
And I think unless there was something else you were going to say, Zhang, I think we'll cut back to Blackwood Palace at this point.
Sure. I realize there was a zombie knocking at the door that we never resolved.
Yeah, I realized
Sorry about
that too. I realized that too. That was
I don't know if we do a flashback for that or what, but
that was my error. It's a ghost story. They open the door and ooh, no one's there.
No one's there. Okay,
Well,
okay,
yeah,
got
we'll come back to that. That occurred to me halfway through the last scene. I was like, oh no.
Oh, don't. We can still work in it. Zombies can still appear.
So, you've made it back to Blackwood Palace, and it sounds like you want to bring Miao Renxing into the mixture.
Yes.
So I think that you will find Miao Renxing actually kind of presiding over the digging of a grave for the fallen members of Blackwood Palace. You have maybe a plot of land, sacred, holy ground, off in some corner of Blackwood Palace's extensive collection of gardens. And I think you might find him there if everyone is okay with setting the scene once again outdoors. Okay. So, Dongshan, he's your master, so we'll start with you. What would you say is, Jiang brings you really pretty worse for wear to Miao Renxing? How would you like to kick this off?
I think at this point I'm I'm more or less incapacitated. So I think once you reach Blackwood Palace, they grab sort of a stretcher for me and take me off towards Miao Renxing. But I think John will get the first say. And I was thinking once Miao Renxing, actually starts treating me, then I could wake up some and converse if needed.
So, Jiang, you have the floor then.
So as we come to Master Miao or Renxing,
Yes.
in the burial grounds, is that where we were? Yeah. Always a great place to put Jiang. You never know what's going to happen. And Wu Dongshan is in the stretcher, and Jiang has only met Miao Renxing once. So he comes in, he makes a formal bow, and he says, Master, your right lieutenant has been poisoned with the dark moon poison. I don't know if I know about that, but with a serious poison, and is in dire need of your assistance. He asked me to bring you here. I am very worried about him and whether he will survive.
I think Miao Renxing, ever the good guy, will, the burials can wait. We have to attend to the living. And so I think he will go to you and in so many words tell you that the poison has been coursing through Dongshan's veins. It is affecting him, and he'll give you all this information about the various acupoints and meridians that are blocked in this way and that way, and he's very well versed in this kind of thing. Clearly, Dongshan is able to control it. That's the only reason why he's not dead right now. But it will take some time, and I think he will give you some kind of instruction on how you and him together are going to apply this sort of healing technique to Dongshan in an effort to maybe unblock the parts that have been blocked such that you're able to get him back on his feet. So essentially what you're doing here is he's saying this is how we're going to clear this element. It would be a comfort and support role. You would be the one rolling it, Jiang. And if that goes well, then we can clear perhaps one of Dongshan's elements and get him back on his feet.
Yeah. And I imagine not a complete montage, but like just kind of a lot of shots of the two of us kind of ministering to Wu Dongshan. And I imagine that in one of them, Jiang says in passing, now that he's had some time with Miao Rensheng, he says, Master, I do not mean to be impertinent. And Wu Dongshan is out at this point, or maybe he isn't. Maybe he could hear things. You could tell me, Greg, whether he hears any of this. But I do not wish to be impertinent. But the previous night, I was having difficulty sleeping, and as I walked by your door, I witnessed your interaction with the masked demon.
He looks at you with utter befuddlement. I think he has kind of this frost kind of hanging off of his beard, and he just looks at you like you're just saying complete nonsense. What are you talking about? He says to you.
And then as Jiang sees his response, I'm not sure if this is a steady move or not. I know we still have the comfort move to work on, but if this is a steady move or not. But I imagine Jiang realizes that he has no memory of it.
I think that's clear.
It's honestly that he has no memory of it. And I think because Jiang was hoping to get some information out of him, but apparently he's not going to be the source of much information. And Jiang immediately backtracks and says, Forgive me, Master. It was a mistake on my part. Never mind. Please forget my words and let us continue to minister to Dongshan, who requires our full attention. And he shuts up and starts working again. And
he probably will not forget your words.
He might not forget my words. And we'll see what he does with them. But I guess I have a comfort roll to do.
Yes.
I have to decide upon an element. Let's see. I think maybe what would be about healing? Maybe earth. Caution, focus, and presence. And I have a +1 forward on Wu Dongshan, which I can use.
Yeah.
Or I should use. +1 forwards have to be used on the next move, right? Yeah.
In most games I'm familiar with, +1 forward means on the next available roll.
Okay, that's cool. This is the one. So then if it's earth, it's +1, and if it's the +1 forward, so that's +2. And I have to find the dice keeper. Oh, that's a 10.
+1 forward was helpful.
That put me over the edge. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so on a 10.
So yeah, I will clear fire.
And Jiang, you may also clear an element yourself, ask Dongshan a question they must answer, or give Dongshan a bond with you.
Oh, I see. Let me just take a quick look here. I like the idea of asking Dongshan a question while he's in a delirium, in a poison delirium, and him having to answer it truthfully. But what will it be? Or maybe it's not even a question, but it's like something that Dongshan says in his delirium. It would probably be something about the Mofang Xing Shui, is that her name? The wife's name?
Yep.
Xing Shui. It would be something about that.
Yeah, so the way I see it happening is you know, you guys do your healing thing, and I do the typical all of a sudden wake up and spit out
Some blood.
black poison, which you know, then you know, sits and sort of bubbles on the ground, and
Yeah.
but thus indicating that I'm now out of danger of immediately dying, and sort of collapse back and just resting. And at that point, Miao Renxing might turn his attention away,
Mm-hmm.
and you get your chance to.
Okay. I don't want it to be too obvious, but what would my question be that you could answer? I want to say where are your loyalties right now, but that's I think I already know. I don't want to ask a question I already know. What would you want to? What's a secret that you could tell me that would be a revealing secret about Dongshan? If you could help me out, if that's okay, something that might be fun and drive the narrative, something new we don't know about Dongshan already, or his wife, or Mofang, or any of that at all. It could be about anything. It could be something about me, since you've just had some revelations about me.
Trying hard to think because he's not big on secrets.
Tell me your greatest fear. In your poison delirium, the the Violet Widow's poison, yeah. What is your fear? How is your fear hallucination happening?
I think that my greatest fear is losing Qing Shui.
Losing
but I think you hear me muttering about how I must kill Mo Feng, but Qing Shui can never know that it was me.
the secrecy of it all.
So yes, he does have sort of does have a secret now.
His secret death wish for Mo Feng. Okay. All right. So I think that's the end of the comfort move, right?
Mhm.
Is that all of it? Yeah.
I think you've got that resolved, Dongshan.
Okay.
You're back in action, a bit delirious and maybe groggy and fatigued, but no less getting your wits back about you. Is there anything that you, Dongshan, would like to do in this scene?
Call back Master Meow and just tell him that reveal to him that it was Violet Widow who caused this. She seems to have, she's, it was not so much an attack as she's temperamental and took, just took it out on our men when they failed to cooperate with her, but we aren't in any danger, so she seems to have gone for now.
This sort of villainous treachery will not go unnoticed. She must die.
I tried my best, but could not hold her off, as you can see. In fact, it was only through the intervention of Zhou Jiang that I still live.
Jiang, is it true that you intervened, risking your life for my own right, Lieutenant?
That is true, Master. Although I know that he would have done the same for me in the same situation. The Violet Widow is a whimsical creature, and I did my best to distract her so that she could not bring down a killing blow on my friend.
Jiang, though I know you are no member of Blackwood Palace, let it be known that you will always have a haven here. You have done well.
Thank you, Master. He takes a deep bow.
And Dongshan, he says, I will not accept a resignation to failure yet. Between the two of you, I know that you each have the inner capacity to destroy this thing that Violet Widow is. And so I expect it of you. While I have no authority to tell Jiang what he must do and who he must risk his life for, Dongshan, blood has been spilt by this woman, and I will see her dead for her missteps.
I can't remember if I know she's already dead. I don't think so.
Truthfully, I Nameless Blade knows.
Nameless Blade
Obviously.
knows. Yeah. Cloud Crow knows.
I think Cloud Crow knows. I don't.
Oh, but didn't Cloud Crow tell Meow? Meow may know. Actually, because Cloud Crow got advice from Meow Renshing about, and that's when the whole elixir plan.
That's when the elixir came into play.
Yes. So maybe not. Maybe he wasn't speaking about seeing her killed,
destroyed.
But rather destroyed. Yeah.
I will see her destroyed for this, and as such, it is of the utmost importance that you bring the elixir of immortality up from the very depths of hell. For without it, no lasting harm can be done to her.
Jiang's eyebrows go up at the open reference to the elixir of immortality.
I
Jiang,
would
you
be
already-
surprised, but I'm too out of it.
You're too out of it.
Yeah, sure. Is this the first Dongshan has heard of the elixir?
It may. Well, no, we don't know because the elixir is on Blackwood Palace's radar. We know that, so we don't know whether Dongshan. But I suspect, as the right lieutenant of Blackwood Palace, Dongshan does know about the elixir.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
I know. I may not have known that it was in hell, but I knew we had access to it.
Well, now you know a thing about Cloud Crow's motivation for going down there, and we have kind of an awkward situation between the two of you because both of you need the elixir for different reasons. Jiang, you want to get it to Gentleman Bao Yin.
Right.
And Dongshan, you want it for Blackwood Palace.
Everyone wants the MacGuffin.
Yeah, but it's the MacGuffin of the chapter. Are there any additional things people want to do here before we... I think this sounds like a good enough place to stop the session for the evening. Is there anything that people want to do before we wrap things up here?
Just think real quick.
Not right now.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, in that case, I will go ahead and stop the recording here, and we will see how much we can get wrapped up of the story arc next time.